The ocean is awake long before you are. Its movement never fully stops. Even in the deepest hours of night, waves continue their quiet arrival along the narrow shore below the village. You lie on your side upon the tatami mat, wrapped loosely in a cotton blanket. The woven straw beneath you holds the faint scent of dry grass and sea air that has drifted inland through the walls over many seasons. The room is dark. Not completely black, but filled with the soft, weightless darkness that exists just before morning. You listen. Beyond the wooden walls of your home, the ocean breathes in slow rhythm. A distant wave rolls inward. It meets the shore with a low hush, then retreats again. The sound is familiar. It has shaped every morning of your life. You open your eyes slowly. There is no urgency in waking. No bell. No voice calling your name. Only habit. Only the quiet understanding that the tide will not wait forever. The air is cool against your skin as you sit upright. Your joints move stiffly at first, still held by sleep. You rest your hands on your knees and remain still for a moment, allowing your breathing to settle. Across the room, a faint grey outline marks the paper screen of the sliding door. Beyond it, the world is waiting. You reach for your work clothes, folded neatly beside you. The fabric is simple and worn smooth from years of use. You wrap the layers around yourself carefully, tying each knot with practiced hands. The cloth holds the faint scent of salt. Everything here does. You stand and move toward the door. The wood beneath your feet creaks softly, not loudly enough to disturb anyone who might still sleep nearby. In other homes along the narrow path, other fishermen lie in similar rooms, waiting for the same quiet moment between night and day. You slide the door open slowly. Cool air enters at once. It touches your face, your hands, the exposed edges of your neck. Outside, the village rests in shadow. Small wooden houses line the slope above the shore, their roofs curved and dark against the fading night sky. Their walls are weathered by years of wind carrying salt from the sea. No lanterns burn now. No voices carry, only the sound of water below. You step outside. The earth beneath your feet is firm and cool. A narrow path of packed soil leads downward toward the shoreline, worn smooth by countless footsteps. Above you, the sky remains deep blue, though not as dark as it was before. The first faint suggestion of morning has begun, though the sun itself remains hidden beyond the horizon. Stars still linger overhead. Their light is faint, fading slowly. You pause and look toward the ocean. From here, it appears endless, a wide, breathing darkness stretching outward beyond sight. The tide moves gently, its surface reflecting only fragments of the sky. You begin walking down the narrow path. Your steps are slow and steady. There is no need to hurry. The sea will still be there when you arrive, just as it was yesterday and the day before and every day before that. As you pass the neighboring houses, you notice subtle signs of waking. A door shifting slightly, a faint movement behind paper screens. Another fisherman stepping quietly onto the path ahead of you. He does not speak. He does not need to. You both understand the rhythm of this hour. You continue downward until the earth becomes sand. The shoreline stretches before you, curved gently along the edge of the village. Wooden boats rest where they were pulled ashore the previous evening, their hulls dark and damp with night moisture. Your boat waits among them. It is narrow, built for 1 or 2 men, its wood worn smooth by years of use. The rope tied to its bow lies coiled loosely in the sand. You approach it slowly. Your hand rests briefly against the hull. The wood is cold. You feel its solid presence beneath your fingers. This boat has carried you through calm mornings and sudden storms, through fog so thick the world disappeared entirely, through long quiet hours where sky and sea became the only companions. You kneel beside the nets. They lie folded carefully, their fibers stiff with dried salt. You lift part of the bundle and run your fingers along its length. Each knot holds meaning. Each strand carries memory. You inspect the net slowly, searching for tears left unseen in yesterday's fading light. A small loose thread catches your attention. You reach for the repair cord tucked into your belt and begin to mend it. Your fingers move without thought. Loop, pull, tighten. The motion is familiar, repeated so many times it no longer requires effort. Around you, the shoreline remains quiet. A seabird passes overhead, its wings cutting silently through the dim sky. Farther down the beach, another fisherman pushes his boat slightly closer to the water's edge. The sand shifts beneath its weight with a low scraping sound. You finish the repair and set the net aside. The horizon has grown lighter now. Not bright, but softened. A faint band of pale grey separates sea from sky. You sit briefly on the edge of your boat. Your hands rest loosely in your lap. You breathe. The air tastes faintly of salt and distant rain. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the tide. Its rhythm is steady, predictable, comforting. You open your eyes again and look toward the east. Soon, the sun will rise. Soon, the sea will reveal its surface once more. But for now, everything exists in quiet balance between darkness and light. You rise and place your tools carefully inside the boat. The nets, the oars, the small wooden container that will hold the morning's catch. Each object has its place. Each movement is deliberate. You untie the rope from its post and gather it loosely. The water creeps closer along the shore as the tide shifts. Soon, it will lift the boat easily. You place one hand against the hull and wait. The village behind you remains quiet. Smoke has not yet begun to rise from cooking fires. Children have not yet stepped outside. This hour belongs only to those who work the sea. The sky brightens slightly more. Clouds appear faintly now, stretched thin across the horizon. The world prepares itself slowly, just as you do. You push gently against the boat. It moves a few inches across the sand. You pause. Not launching yet, not until the light is ready, not until the sea reveals its face. For now, you stand beside the quiet water, listening to its endless breath. And
the horizon continues to brighten, though the sun itself has not yet appeared. A thin band of pale gray stretches across the edge of the sea, separating the dark water below from the deep blue sky above. The stars fade one by one, dissolving quietly into the growing light. You stand beside your boat, feeling the cool air move gently across your face. The tide has crept closer while you worked. Water now reaches the lowest edge of the sand, touching the hull in slow, patient breaths. You listen. Each wave arrives with the same soft hush. It gathers, it pauses, it withdraws. The rhythm is steady, older than memory. You kneel beside the nets once more. Their rough fibers feel damp beneath your fingers, heavy with night moisture and salt. You lift the bundle carefully and place it inside the narrow hull. The rope coils settle into the boat with a dull, familiar weight. Every knot must remain free. Every line must fall without tangling when cast. You adjust them slowly, spreading the loops so they lie flat against the wooden floor. The boat smells of sea and old wood. It always has. It always will. Beside the nets, you place the small wooden container that will hold the morning's catch. Its surface is scarred by years of use, marked by faint cuts and worn edges. You run your hand briefly along its rim. It feels solid, dependable. You set the oars carefully across the boat's sides. Their handles have been shaped by your grip over many seasons. The wood is smoother where your hands have rested countless times before. Behind you, the village remains quiet, but it is no longer fully asleep. A faint shape moves along the path above the shore, another fisherman descending slowly toward his own boat. His silhouette passes between the dark outlines of houses, then fades again. No words are spoken, none are needed. The sea calls each man in its own quiet way. You turn back toward the water. The tide has risen enough now. You place both hands against the hull and push gently. At first, the hull resists. The sand holds it in place. You push again, shifting your weight forward. The hull slides a few inches. Wet sand compresses beneath it with a low, grinding sound. Another wave arrives, spreading beneath the boat. You push once more. This time, the water helps. The boat moves forward more easily, lifted slightly by the tide's slow strength. Cold water flows around your feet, soaking the edge of your clothing. You do not react. The sensation is familiar, expected. You guide the boat until it floats freely. For a moment, it drifts beside you, rocking gently. The surface of the sea reflects the growing light of morning. Muted silver, soft gray, endless. You steady the boat with one hand and step carefully inside. The wood shifts beneath your weight, responding with a quiet creak. You lower yourself slowly onto the narrow seat. The nets rest beside you. The oars lie ready. You pause. The shoreline feels closer now, more fragile. You look back once. The village stands silent against the hillside. Its roofs form dark shapes against the pale sky. No smoke rises yet from cooking fires. The world remains suspended between night and day. You reach for the oars. Their familiar weight settles into your hands. You dip the blades into the water carefully. The surface parts without resistance. You pull. The boat moves forward. A small ripple spreads behind you, widening slowly before fading completely. You pull again. The motion is steady, unhurried. Each stroke carries you farther from the shore. The sounds of land begin to fade. Footsteps, wind through grass, even the faint creak of buildings, all replaced by the quiet breathing of the sea. The water beneath you shifts gently, lifting and lowering the boat in slow rhythm. Not sharply, not violently, just enough to remind you of its presence. The sky brightens further. Clouds appear now, stretched thin across the horizon like faint brushstrokes. Their edges catch the first suggestion of warmth, though the sun itself remains hidden beyond sight. Ahead of you, the ocean opens, wide, empty, patient. You continue rowing. Pull, pause, pull, pause. Your breathing settles into the same rhythm. Your hands move without thought. This motion lives in your body now, carried through years of repetition. Behind you, the village grows smaller. Its details blur, its shapes soften. Soon, it becomes only a dark line against the land. The air feels colder away from shore. Wind moves more freely here, unhindered by buildings or trees. It touches your face, your hands, the back of your neck. You pause briefly and let the boat drift. Water laps softly against the hull. You look down into its surface. The sea is darker here, its depth hidden beneath shifting reflections of sky. You cannot see the bottom. You never do. You reach beside you and lift part of the net. The rope feels heavier now, damp with seawater and mist. You inspect its knots again, ensuring nothing has shifted during the launch. Everything remains secure. You lower it gently. The horizon glows faintly brighter. A narrow line of pale gold begins to form where sea meets sky. Morning approaches fully now. Far in the distance, another small boat moves across the water. Its shape barely visible, its motion slow. Another fisherman beginning his day. You watch it briefly, then turn your attention forward again. The ocean stretches without end. No boundaries, no walls, only distance. You place the oars back into the water and continue rowing. Each movement carries you deeper into open water, closer to where the fish move unseen beneath the surface, closer to where the day's quiet labor will unfold. Behind you, the village disappears into morning mist. Ahead of you, the ocean waits.
The shoreline
and the sun
fades slowly
prepares to
behind you.
rise.
At first,
The village remains visible, a dark line resting between the sea and the sky. The shapes of rooftops and wooden walls blur together, softened by distance and a thin mist that rises from the water. But with each stroke of the oars, the land grows smaller, less detailed, less present, until it becomes only a memory resting at the edge of your vision. You stop rowing. The boat drifts forward on its own momentum, carried by the slow breathing of the sea. The water here moves differently than it did near the shore. It rises and falls in longer swells, lifting the boat gently before lowering it again. The motion is steady, never sudden. Your body adjusts without thought, your balance shaped by years spent on this moving surface. You rest the oars across the sides of the boat. Their blades drip quietly, sending small rings outward across the calm water. The horizon glows faintly now. A narrow band of pale gold stretches beneath the fading blue of night, marking the place where the sun will soon appear. The light is still weak, but it reveals more of the sea with each passing moment. You reach beside you and gather the net. It lies in a careful bundle, heavy with dampness. You lift part of it into your hands. The rope fibers feel cool and rough against your fingers. Small droplets cling to its surface, sliding slowly downward as you move. You inspect it again, not because you expect damage, but because this ritual belongs to the work. Your fingers trace each knot, each intersection of cord, each place where strength depends on careful balance. Everything remains as it should be. You rise slowly to your feet. The boat shifts beneath you, responding to the change in weight. You widen your stance slightly, steadying yourself. The sea accepts the movement without resistance. You gather the edge of the net and prepare to cast. For a moment, you pause. You look outward. The ocean stretches endlessly in every direction. No walls, no roads, only distance. The sky above brightens further, revealing thin streaks of cloud that drift without urgency. A seabird passes far overhead, its wings cutting silently through the pale air. You inhale slowly. The air tastes of salt, cold, clean. You cast the net. It leaves your hands in a wide, practiced arc. For a moment, it hangs suspended in the air, its shape open, weightless. Then it falls. The weighted edges touch the water first, breaking the surface with soft, overlapping sounds. The net spreads outward as it sinks, circles widening, lines disappearing into depth. You release the final length of rope and let it slip through your fingers. The fibers slide smoothly across your palm. When the rope grows still, you tie its end securely to the side of the boat. You lower yourself back onto the seat. Now you wait. Waiting is the greater part of fishing. More time is spent in stillness than in motion. The boat drifts gently. The water moves beneath you in slow rhythm. You place your hands on your knees and listen. There are no human voices here, no footsteps, no sound but wind and water. Far below the surface, unseen currents carry life through the dark. Fish move in quiet patterns, guided by instincts older than memory. You close your eyes briefly, not to sleep, only to feel. The motion of the boat, the touch of wind, the steady rhythm of breath. You open your eyes again. The sky has brightened slightly more. The band of gold along the horizon widens. Its reflection stretches across the sea in a broken path of trembling light. You reach down and touch the rope. It remains still. The net hangs beneath the surface, waiting. You allow more time to pass. Patience cannot be forced. You glance downward into the water beside the boat. Its surface reflects the sky clearly now, though its depth remains hidden. Only faint shadows move below, too distant to see clearly. You wait longer. Eventually, You feel it, a faint vibration, subtle, almost imagined. Your fingers tighten around the rope. You do not pull immediately. You wait. Another movement follows, small but real. You begin to pull the rope slowly, hand over hand. The fibers tighten. Water beads along their surface. The weight increases gradually, not heavy, but alive. You continue pulling. The rope rises from the sea, dripping steadily back into its surface. Soon the edge of the net appears, dark against the growing light. You pull further. Silver flashes beneath the surface. Fish. Their bodies reflect the pale gold of morning as they emerge from the water. They move weakly within the net, their strength diminished by the capture. You guide the net carefully into the boat. Water spills across the wood and runs back into the sea. You kneel beside it and begin freeing the fish. Your fingers move carefully, loosening each knot where it is tightened around scale and fin. Each fish is placed gently into the wooden container beside you. They settle into stillness. The net grows lighter. When the last fish has been freed, you gather the empty net once more. You rinse it briefly in the sea, clearing it of scales and sand. Then you prepare it again. The sun's first edge appears above the horizon, a thin arc of gold. Light spreads across the water more fully now. The mist begins to fade. The world grows clearer. You pause, holding the net in your hands, feeling the warmth of the rising sun touch your face for the first time. The day has begun.
The sun rises
and the sea
slowly,
remains patient
without sound.
beside you.
At first, only a thin curve of pale gold appears above the horizon. It rests there quietly, balanced between sea and sky, before lifting higher, revealing more of its light with each passing moment. You sit inside the narrow wooden boat, the net gathered beside you once more. The world has changed. What was once shadow and silver has become soft blue and gold. The mist that lingered over the water begins to dissolve, thinning into faint strands before vanishing entirely. The surface of the sea reflects the growing brightness. Long, trembling paths of light stretch outward, shifting gently with each movement of the water. You remain still. Your hands rest loosely in your lap. The boat rises and falls beneath you in slow rhythm, guided by swells too broad to see completely. You breathe in. The air is no longer as cold as it was before dawn. A faint warmth has begun to settle across your face and shoulders, carried on the first steady light of morning. You look down into the water beside the boat. It appears clearer now. The darkness that once hid its depth has retreated, replaced by soft reflections of sky and cloud. Beneath the surface, faint shapes move far below, their forms indistinct. They appear, then disappear. You cannot follow them with your eyes. You reach beside you and lift the net once more. The rope is heavier now, damp from its first use. Droplets fall from its knots and return to the sea below, forming small rings that widen and vanish. You inspect it carefully. Your fingers move from knot to knot, checking for strain or damage. Everything remains strong. You prepare to cast again. You rise slowly. The boat responds beneath your weight, shifting gently before settling. Your feet adjust without thought. Balance comes naturally here. The horizon stretches endlessly around you. No land is visible now. The village has disappeared completely behind distance and light. There is only the sea and the sky, and the small wooden boat holding you between them. You gather the net and cast it outward. It opens in a familiar circle before falling into the water with a quiet series of soft sounds. The rope slips through your fingers. You secure its end once more. Then you sit and wait. Waiting becomes easier as the sun rises. The light brings clarity, but it does not hurry the sea. Time moves differently here. Moments are not counted in numbers, but in breath, in movement, in stillness. A seabird appears overhead. Its wings remain extended, unmoving as it glides through the morning air. It circles once above the water, watching. Then it drifts farther away. You follow it briefly with your eyes, then return your attention to the rope beside your hand. The boat continues its slow drifting. The sound of water against its wooden sides remains soft and steady. You close your eyes briefly, not sleeping, only resting them from the brightness. Behind your eyelids, the motion of the sea remains present, a gentle swaying, a quiet rhythm. You open your eyes again. The sun has climbed higher. Its reflection now forms broken fragments across the water's surface, too bright to follow directly. You reach for the rope. At first it hangs loose. Then, faintly, you feel tension, a subtle pull. You wait. Another small movement follows. You begin pulling the net upward, slowly, hand over hand. Water runs along the rope, dripping steadily back into the sea below. The net rises into view. Its shape emerges first as shadow, then detail. Silver flashes appear between the knots. Fish move weakly within its woven lines, their bodies catching the sunlight. You guide the net carefully into the boat. The wood becomes wet beneath it. You kneel and begin freeing the fish. Your hands move with quiet precision, each knot loosened, each body lifted, each placed gently into the container. The fish settle against one another in stillness. Their scales reflect pale gold. When the net is empty, you rinse it once more in the sea. Salt water washes away the last loose scales. You gather it carefully. There is no rush to cast again. The morning is still young. You sit once more. The sun continues its slow climb. Clouds drift in long, thin shapes across the open sky. Their shadows move faintly across the water, darkening it briefly before passing on. The air warms slightly more, not enough to feel hot, only enough to soften the cold left behind by night. You reach for the small cloth bundle beside you. Inside rests a simple meal prepared before dawn, a rice ball, its surface cool, firm. You hold it for a moment before eating. Its taste is plain, familiar, sustaining. You chew slowly, watching the horizon. There is no sound but water, no motion but wind and sky. You drink a small amount of water from your flask. It tastes faintly of wood and earth. You close your eyes briefly once more. The boat rocks gently. Your breathing slows. The sun continues its quiet ascent. Time moves, but here it moves softly. When you open your eyes again, the sea remains unchanged, wide, patient, endless. You reach again for the net. The work continues.
The sun has begun its slow
deepens
descent
around you.
It no longer rests high above you, but leans gently toward the western sky. Its light has softened, losing the sharp brightness of midday. The ocean reflects this change, its surface shifting from pale brilliance into deeper shades of blue and muted gold. You sit quietly in the boat. The nets lie beside you, heavier now with the work of the morning and afternoon. The wooden container near your feet holds the day's catch, the silver bodies resting motionless in the cool air. There is no need to cast again. The sea has given enough. You rest your hands along the edges of the boat and look outward across the open water. For hours, there has been nothing but horizon, nothing but distance. But now, faintly, something familiar appears. A dark shape far ahead. Land. It is only a thin line at first, barely visible between sea and sky. But you recognize it immediately. The coast. Your village waits there. You reach slowly for the oars. The wood feels warm from the sun, though the air has begun to cool again. You lower the blades into the water carefully, allowing them to settle before pulling. The boat responds. It turns gently, facing home. You begin rowing. The movement is steady, unhurried. Each stroke pulls the boat forward through the calm afternoon sea. The water parts easily beneath the oars, forming long ripples that stretch behind you before fading completely. The sound of rowing returns, wood against water, a soft, hollow rhythm. You breathe in time with it. Pull, pause, pull, pause. The horizon ahead grows clearer with each passing minute. What was once only shadow becomes shape, the uneven line of the coastline, the darker rise of trees along the slope, the faint suggestion of rooftops beyond. Clouds drift slowly overhead, their shadows sliding across the water like passing thoughts. The air carries a different scent now, still salt, still sea, but mixed faintly with earth, with wood, with land. You pause briefly and let the boat drift. The village remains distant but closer than before. You turn your head and look back across the open water one last time. The sea stretches endlessly behind you, its surface calm beneath the afternoon sky. It will remain there long after you return. It always does. You dip the oars once more. Pull, pause, pull, pause. The shoreline grows larger. Details emerge slowly. Individual trees, dark rocks along the water's edge, the narrow strip of sand where the boats rest. You see movement now, small figures along the shore, other fishermen returning, some already pulling their boats onto land, some standing beside their nets. No voices reach you yet, only motion. You continue rowing. The water becomes shallower. Its color shifts, revealing faint shapes beneath the surface, stones and sand hidden in the deeper sea. Waves grow smaller here, gentler. They guide the boat forward in quiet rhythm. Soon, the bottom of the hull brushes the sand, a soft scraping sound. You stop rowing. For a moment, you remain seated. The village stands before you once more. The same houses, the same shore, unchanged. You place the oars carefully inside the boat and step out into the shallow water. It rises around your ankles, cool and familiar. You grasp the rope tied at the bow and begin pulling. The boat slides slowly across the wet sand, leaving a shallow trail behind it. Its weight is heavier now, filled with the work of the day. You pull steadily, step by step. The sand grows firmer beneath your feet. Water recedes behind you. At last, the boat rests fully on shore, safe, still. You pause. Your breathing slows. The sound of waves continue behind you, touching the shoreline again and again, just as they did when the day began. Around you, other fishermen move quietly. Some kneel beside their boats inspecting nets. Some lift their catch into wooden baskets. Some stand briefly looking out toward the sea before turning toward home. No one speaks loudly. There is no need. Each man understands the same rhythm. You reach into the boat and lift the container carefully. Its weight settles into your arms. You look inside briefly. The silver bodies reflect the fading afternoon light, proof of the sea's quiet generosity. You step away from the water. The sand dries beneath your feet. Behind you, the boat remains where you left it, resting until tomorrow. The village path rises gently ahead. Smoke now rises from a few rooftops, thin gray lines drifting upward into the cooling air. Evening approaches. The sky begins to soften once more. You walk slowly toward home. Behind you, the sea continues its endless motion. Ahead of you, the village waits in quiet familiarity.
The sun has
and
begun
the day
its slow
begins
descent.
its gentle end.
It no longer rests high above you, but leans gently toward the western sky. Its light has softened, losing the sharp brightness of midday. The ocean reflects this change, its surface shifting from pale brilliance into deeper shades of blue and muted gold. You sit quietly in the boat. The nets lie beside you, heavier now with the work of the morning and afternoon. The wooden container near your feet holds the day's catch, the silver bodies resting motionless in the cool air. There is no need to cast again. The sea has given enough. You rest your hands along the edges of the boat and look outward across the open water. For hours, there has been nothing but horizon, nothing but distance. But now, faintly, something familiar appears. A dark shape far ahead. Land. It is only a thin line at first, barely visible between sea and sky. But you recognize it immediately. The coast. Your village waits there. You reach slowly for the oars. The wood feels warm from the sun, though the air has begun to cool again. You lower the blades into the water carefully, allowing them to settle before pulling. The boat responds. It turns gently, facing home. You begin rowing. The movement is steady, unhurried. Each stroke pulls the boat forward through the calm afternoon sea. The water parts easily beneath the oars, forming long ripples that stretch behind you before fading completely. The sound of rowing returns, wood against water, a soft, hollow rhythm. You breathe in time with it. Pull, pause, pull, pause. The horizon ahead grows clearer with each passing minute. What was once only shadow becomes shape, the uneven line of the coastline, the darker rise of trees along the slope, the faint suggestion of rooftops beyond. Clouds drift slowly overhead, their shadows sliding across the water like passing thoughts. The air carries a different scent now, still salt, still sea, but mixed faintly with earth, with wood, with land. You pause briefly and let the boat drift. The village remains distant but closer than before. You turn your head and look back across the open water one last time. The sea stretches endlessly behind you, its surface calm beneath the afternoon sky. It will remain there long after you return. It always does. You dip the oars once more. Pull, pause, pull, pause. The shoreline grows larger. Details emerge slowly. Individual trees, dark rocks along the water's edge, the narrow strip of sand where the boats rest. You see movement now, small figures along the shore, other fishermen returning, some already pulling their boats onto land, some standing beside their nets. No voices reach you yet, only motion. You continue rowing. The water becomes shallower. Its color shifts, revealing faint shapes beneath the surface, stones and sand hidden in the deeper sea. Waves grow smaller here, gentler. They guide the boat forward in quiet rhythm. Soon, the bottom of the hull brushes the sand, a soft scraping sound. You stop rowing. For a moment, you remain seated. The village stands before you once more. The same houses, the same shore, unchanged. You place the oars carefully inside the boat and step out into the shallow water. It rises around your ankles, cool and familiar. You grasp the rope tied at the bow and begin pulling. The boat slides slowly across the wet sand, leaving a shallow trail behind it. Its weight is heavier now, filled with the work of the day. You pull steadily, step by step. The sand grows firmer beneath your feet. Water recedes behind you. At last, the boat rests fully on shore, safe, still. You pause. Your breathing slows. The sound of waves continue behind you, touching the shoreline again and again, just as they did when the day began. Around you, other fishermen move quietly. Some kneel beside their boats inspecting nets. Some lift their catch into wooden baskets. Some stand briefly looking out toward the sea before turning toward home. No one speaks loudly. There is no need. Each man understands the same rhythm. You reach into the boat and lift the container carefully. Its weight settles into your arms. You look inside briefly. The silver bodies reflect the fading afternoon light, proof of the sea's quiet generosity. You step away from the water. The sand dries beneath your feet. Behind you, the boat remains where you left it, resting until tomorrow. The village path rises gently ahead. Smoke now rises from a few rooftops, thin gray lines drifting upward into the cooling air. Evening approaches. The sky begins to soften once more. You walk slowly toward home. Behind you, the sea continues its endless motion. Ahead of you,
The village waits in quiet familiarity, and the day
By the time
begins
you
its gentle
return
end.
from the sea, the sun has already begun its descent. It hangs lower now, no longer high and distant, but softened by the slow passage of the day. Its light stretches long across the surface of the water, turning the waves into shifting paths of gold and shadow. Your boat rests once more on the sand. The nets hang nearby, spread carefully across wooden posts to dry. Their fibers darken in places where seawater still clings, but the breeze moves gently through them, carrying away the last dampness. Behind you, the village breathes quietly in the calm of evening. Thin strands of smoke rise from the rooftops of wooden houses, drifting upward before dissolving into the cooling air. The scent of cooking rice and burning wood moves faintly along the narrow paths. The day's labor has ended. For now. You carry the empty wooden container back toward your home. Its weight is lighter than it was before, its surface still cool beneath your fingers. Your footsteps follow the familiar path upward from the shore. The earth beneath your feet has dried beneath the afternoon sun, though traces of dampness remain in shaded places. Small stones shift quietly as you walk. Other fishermen move slowly through the village. Some carry their own nets. Others stand briefly outside their homes, watching the fading light. No one speaks loudly. Voices, when they rise, remain soft. There is no need to disturb the quiet that settles naturally at this hour. You reach your home and slide the wooden door open. The interior greets you with stillness. Tatami mats stretch across the floor, their woven surfaces warm now from the day's lingering heat. The air smells faintly of straw and wood, mixed with the subtle trace of salt carried inland on your clothing. You step inside and close the door behind you. The outside world becomes quieter at once. You set the container down near the wall. Your hands move automatically, loosening the outer layers of your clothing. The fabric slides from your shoulders, heavy with the scent of sea and wind. You fold it carefully. Everything here has its place. You move toward the small iron kettle resting above a charcoal brazier. The coals beneath it glow faintly, their heat steady but gentle. You add a small piece of charcoal, watching as its dark surface slowly catches, glowing red at the edges. The kettle begins to whisper softly, water warming, steam rising. You sit beside it, resting your hands loosely in your lap. Outside, the sounds of the village continue, a door closing, footsteps fading, the distant cry of a seabird returning to its place among the cliffs. Even the ocean, though still present, feels softer now, its waves slower, less urgent, as if the sea itself prepares to rest. The kettle begins to tremble faintly. You lift it carefully and pour the hot water into a small ceramic cup. Steam rises in thin, twisting strands. You hold the cup between your hands. Its warmth spreads slowly into your fingers. You take a slow sip. The taste is simple, clean. You lower the cup and sit quietly. The light outside has grown dimmer. Through the paper screen, the sky appears pale blue, fading toward gray. Evening deepens. You rise and move toward the small oil lamp resting near the wall. Its glass surface reflects the fading light. You lift it gently and strike a match. The flame appears briefly, bright against the growing darkness. You touch it to the wick. The answers with a small, steady glow. Warm light fills the room. Shadows gather in the corners, soft and unmoving. You place the lamp beside you and sit once more. The room feels smaller now, protected, separate from the vastness of the sea beyond its walls. You reach for a small bowl of rice prepared earlier. The grains are cool now, but filling. You eat slowly, each motion unhurried, each breath calm. Outside, the last light fades completely. Night takes its place without sound. The village grows still. Lanterns glow faintly behind paper screens. Then, one by one, they disappear. You finish your meal and set the bowl aside. The oil lamp continues to burn beside you, its flame steady and quiet. You listen. The ocean remains, always present. Its distant rhythm carries through the night air, softened by distance, but unchanged. You lie down upon the tatami mat once more. The woven surface feels familiar beneath your back. You pull the blanket over yourself. The lamp's glow flickers gently against the ceiling. Your breathing slows. Outside, the sea continues its endless motion. Inside, the room remains warm and still. The day has ended, and the quiet of night settles around you
over the village.
once more.
There is no sudden moment when it arrives, no clear boundary between evening and darkness. Instead, it spreads slowly, gently, until the last traces of day have disappeared completely. You lie upon the tatami mat, wrapped in your blanket. The oil lamp beside you burns with a small, steady flame. Its glow is soft, barely strong enough to reach the far corners of the room. Shadows rest quietly along the wooden beams above, unmoving. Beyond the paper walls, the ocean continues. Its voice is softer now, more distant. Each wave reaches the shore with a low hush, then fades again into silence. You breathe slowly. Your body still remembers the motion of the sea. Even here, on solid ground, a faint sensation of drifting remains, the gentle rise and fall that carried you through the day. Your muscles loosen. Your hands rest lightly against the blanket. There is nothing left to prepare, nothing left to mend, nothing left to carry. The village outside grows quieter with each passing moment. One by one, the faint lantern lights behind neighboring walls disappear. Their glow dims, then vanishes, leaving only darkness and the pale light of the sky. You turn your head slightly toward the paper screen. Through its thin surface, the night reveals itself. A faint blue glow rests against the horizon, reflected from the sea. Above it, the sky stretches wide and clear. Stars appear in quiet numbers, scattered across the darkness. They do not flicker. They simply remain. The oil lamp beside you gives a soft, occasional whisper as the flame shifts. Its light feels warmer than the cold distance of the stars. You close your eyes briefly. Behind your eyelids, the day returns in quiet fragments. The sound of the net slipping into water, the slow movement of the oars, the first warmth of sunlight touching your face. These memories drift through your thoughts, not sharply, but gently, like reflections moving across the surface of the sea. They do not demand attention. They simply pass. You open your eyes again. The lamp burns lower now, its flame smaller, still steady. Outside, the wind moves lightly across the village rooftops. It carries the scent of salt inland, slipping between the narrow spaces of wood and paper. Somewhere far off, a seabird calls once in the darkness. Then silence returns. You shift slightly beneath the blanket. The tatami mat holds the faint warmth of your body. The air cools slowly as the night deepens. Time moves differently here. There are no clocks, no bells, only the steady passing of breath. The ocean continues its endless rhythm, wave after wave, arriving and leaving, unseen in the darkness. You imagine the shoreline, the boats resting where they were pulled ashore, the nets hanging motionless in the night air. Everything waiting, Everything still. The sea does not sleep, but it rests, just as you do. Your breathing grows slower, more even. The lamp flickers once, then steadies again. Its flame grows smaller. Soon it will burn out completely. But there is no need to watch it. You close your eyes. The sounds of the night remain. Wind, water, silence between them. Far beyond the village, the open sea stretches endlessly beneath the stars. Fish move unseen beneath its surface. Currents flow without sound. The same waters you crossed this morning continue their quiet motion. They will remain through the night. They will remain when morning returns. Your body sinks deeper into stillness. The rhythm of the sea fades into the rhythm of your breath. The lamp's glow softens. Darkness gathers gently around you. Outside, the village sleeps. And tomorrow, before the sun rises, the ocean will be waiting again.